Hi and welcome everyone. I am Friar Tuck, and in my last video, I ended up talking about what it's like to go from being housed to homeless and then getting housed again, and some of the vulnerabilities and stuff like that that you have. But in that video, and just kind of talking with my road dog, because we sit back and we talk about just some of the personality traits that I have that really aren't acceptable within society in some ways, and just it's caused me to sit back and to self-reflect, because one thing that most people don't realize is when you become homeless, you do start picking up feral tendencies, and you start going back to primal instincts and primal behavior. And a lot of people may look at that and go, "Well, why would you do that? We're in a civilized society." Or they may look down and say, "Well, this is a sad part of homelessness." But the reality is just the way the environment is, because when you're the most vulnerable, and the way that our society is set up to be able to exploit those that have less by those who have more, things like this generally tend to happen. And then you get a cause and effect. You could call it trauma related responses, you could call it all kinds of different responses. But there are certain traits and habits that you pick up the longer that you are homeless. At least these are traits that I've noticed that I've picked up that were not normal as part of being in the house society. Because when you're in the house community, you kind of have that false sense of security. You trust that the police are there. You have the security of your four walls. You have a lot of different things that work in your benefit to give you that false sense of security. But when you live outside, security is probably one of the number one things that that you struggle with, because unless you're very lucky and you can be out in the middle of the woods and never be bothered again, and you know how to never come back into society, which it's so few people that can do something like that, that it's really not something that you would expect, or not something that's on the table. The most common experience is you have no privacy when you're homeless. So you could lay in a doorway, you could go in a little bit of a wooded area. There's other homeless that are walking through there that are looking for a place, or there are housed individuals that are going by, and sometimes they'll harass you. Sometimes they will try and do other things to you. So therefore, it puts you on guard. And so I was trying to explain to my road dog is that I'm not necessarily on alert. The easiest way to kind of help you guys understand it, because I know a lot of you guys are within the prepping community, also have family members that have served in the military, especially if you know anybody that served in Vietnam. They came back with something called the 1,000-yard stare. And it was usually the soldiers that had seen heavy combat, because at that point in time, that was their survival. They were trying to see threats as far away as the naked eye could see, and to watch for any movement. And the longer that you get out here, the longer that you spend on the streets, especially the more interactions you have with the public, because you're going to have positive and negative interactions. The not only the more on guard you get, but that 1,000-yard stare starts to become a normal part of your habit, a normal part of your life. And it's just there's a lot of other things, so such as when you are walking around and you feel like you might be going through an area that is not safe to you. Not only do you have the 1,000-yard stare, but you've also learned how to posture enough to be able to give the guy that's looking at you a little bit of pause before he decides he wants to mess with you. A perfect example is what happened in Atlanta as I was coming down from the AT. We were on the bus, and I was there in Atlanta after dark, and it's pretty dangerous. So there was a guy that wanted Sam, and he was messing with me and the dog. I instead of standing there and engaging the guy, because I wanted to get on the bus, get to where I had to go, because I had things that were going on, and I wasn't willing to compromise my trip just to settle a score. And so when Sam and I moved over to another place, this guy starts coming by. But the thing is in order to be able to keep yourself safe, because at the end of the day, nobody knows anybody's skills. You don't know how good of a fighter I am. I don't know how good of a fighter you are. We don't really know the other skill set. So a lot of it has you can use as a deterrent, because as that ambiguity is there, as that that grayness is there that you don't have an exact answer to. It's going to cause you to step back, especially if you're looking for an easy target, an easy role. So therefore, I use posturing such as, my stance. I show that I'm ready to actually come and take a swing. So like my arms go back, my shoulders go up, because I'm ready to get into some sort of altercation. Also, my eyes and my lips and the way that I look, just like for women, you have resting bitch face. For guys, we can just call it resting dick face. Okay, and so you get that resting dick face, and you just I know some of you guys are gonna be laughing your ass off at that one, but you start showing, and you start posturing and showing them that, should they show any inkling of wanting to take it to the next level, that you're already ready to go and you're just waiting for them. And so as this guy is trying to decide whether or not he wants to roll me and try and take my dog, just because he's having his own issue, using that stuff as a deterrent. Now, if he would have actually gotten to the point where he thought that he could still overpower me, well, then I got to stand there and put pen to paper and really show that I'm not just posturing. And so sometimes people might want to call your bluff. So you better be prepared for somebody to call your bluff and ready to go. But these are the different psychological things that you deal with when you're traveling out on the road. You're listening for noises and stuff like that. In a lot of ways, you're at war with society, but it's such a silent war that nobody really knows about, because society feels that it's okay to be able to beat up on you. But then when you try and develop relationships with people in the public and things like that, because of all the different experiences that you've had being being homeless, now you're a little bit rough around the edges. For example, after kind of sitting back and thinking about it, this lady that our landlord is kind of being in our face a little bit, and it's a little irritating, because like every day she's coming over and she's kind of bothering us. So it's already kind of for me, coming from the situation I'm at, that's already raising my anxiety, because this person is coming over and just isn't giving me any peace, isn't leaving me alone, is constantly trying to figure out ways to nitpick, for some sort of power trip. And so in the homeless community, that's when you start getting combative right back. So yes, she's like coming over, oh, you need to turn down your music. I wasn't listening to music. I was actually listening to an article talking about Donald Trump, which I really think that that's the whole reason why she came over here, because there was no music. I was listening to a podcast talking about the changes that Donald Trump is making and how it's going to affect the homeless community, which is going to be really scary. And I'm glad that I'm getting off the streets right now, because I think it would become very dangerous for me moving forward. But it's these things within society that now all of a sudden people start looking at you and going, well, why are you always angry? Why are you always angst? Because they don't realize that in the house community, you can go run inside your house, and if you want to lock yourself away for a few days and get some peace, you can. But when you're outside and you don't get to really experience any peace or any privacy, every interaction becomes contentious. And so therefore, just because of the way that the dynamic works out there, that you cannot, the weak will not survive within the homeless community. Those are the people that get taken advantage of, that get rolled, that get used and abused, and all those different things. So if you're going to stand up and actually have some sort of safety, you're going to be combative with everybody. But the thing is, the house community looks at you, and then they're calling the cops going, I'm scared of this person, da 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 da, when not realizing that the whole reason why that whole interaction started was because they pushed the homeless person into a position where they were concerned for their own safety and for their own peace, because peace at all costs sometimes. That's just the way it works. And so now all of a sudden the house person instigates it because they think they have the right to tell you how to do this and that and the other, and you're going to sit there and stand your ground, and now all of a sudden you're dealing with police interactions, because there's a huge miscommunication that's going on. Because you got to realize that whenever a homeless person sees another individual, whether they've been homeless for a while and then they get housed, because this is the problem that I'm facing, is that I'm still seeing things from that point of view, and I'm having to retrain myself that not everybody is out to be aggressive. Not everybody is out to get me. My safety is not in danger at every turn, for these different reasons. Okay, so these are the different things that I, as an individual, have to face and am facing as part of going from being homeless to being housed. But those of you that are housed and really want to understand the homeless, and you wonder why they get agitated or angry with you and stuff like this, maybe this kind of gives you a little bit of an insight of why they're doing it, and one, why you shouldn't take it so personal. And maybe the next time you come across that person, they may be in a better mood, because you can only take so much in a day before you just finally snap, and that might have been just the day that they've just had way too much. Okay, and that's just kind of what happens in that situation. But as far as dealing with the homeless, this might help give you a little bit of insight. And if you plan on developing any type of relationship with a homeless person, whether it be a friendship or whether it be romantic, because it will inevitably happen over time, these are some things that you need to be aware of when you go into this relationship, because this person is going to end up needing somebody that's going to be there to kind of have the patience with them, to kind of show them, like, help them reintegrate into society, because all of that's been lost in their quest for survival. So hopefully this allows you to have a little bit more kindness and compassion towards the homeless community, if you're not part of it, when interacting with it. Now, you guys know how to help the channel. I'm supported through crowdfunding. If you want to see my life post homelessness, you're gonna have to come over to Patreon. That's where all that content's getting uploaded at. $5, $10, $20 a month membership. That's all it takes. You get plenty of information. It's all behind a paywall, and it's all private. You get access to chat as well. But memberships and my tip jar down in the description is how I support myself. So if you find value in this video, consider that. Otherwise, I will see you on the next one.